Have you ever wondered why two men can start in the same place, with the same education, the same opportunities, even the same struggles, and yet one rises to staggering wealth while the other remains trapped in scarcity? Why some people seem to bend fortune to their will, while others spend their lives waiting for a lucky break that never comes? Look around you, the evidence is everywhere. Skyscrapers piercing the sky, billion-dollar empires born from once impossible ideas, legacies carved so deeply into history that time itself cannot erase them. Do you think all of that was created by accident? No. Behind every fortune, behind every invention, behind every leap of progress humanity has ever made, there is a hidden law. A law older than steel, older than electricity, older than money itself. A law that does not bend to excuses, does not care about circumstances, and does not wait for anyone. And here's the truth. Most people will go to their graves never knowing it exists. They will work, they will labor, they will struggle, but because they never understood this law, their efforts will yield only fragments of what could have been theirs. But for those who discover it, for those who master it, wealth becomes inevitable. Not because they are lucky, not because they are chosen, but because they have aligned their minds, their actions, and their spirit with the very law that attracts wealth. This is the secret I will reveal to you now. Listen carefully, because once you hear it, you can never go back to the life you lived before. Listen closely, because what I'm about to tell you is not common knowledge. It is not found in textbooks, it is not handed to you in schools, and it is rarely spoken of openly in public. It is the law behind every fortune ever built, the silent force that has shaped empires, lifted men from obscurity, and turned vision into reality. It is the law that decides whether you live chained by scarcity or rise with the power of abundance. And here's the truth. This law has always been here, waiting, unbending, impartial, but it only serves those who understand how to use it. Think of it. A poor boy with little formal education becomes one of the greatest industrialists the world has ever seen. A dreamer with a sketchpad in his hand builds an empire of imagination that reshapes childhood forever. A man who once failed in business after business, went bankrupt, and faced ridicule, later rose to become one of the most respected leaders in history. Were they luckier than others? No. Were they born with something you were not? Absolutely not. They discovered the law, they aligned their minds with it, and they obeyed its conditions with discipline so fierce that failure itself could not destroy them. This is the law that attracts wealth. Wealth not just in money, but in opportunities, in influence, in freedom, in every dimension of life that expands when you learn to think, act, and create like the masters of success. And the moment you understand this, the moment it sinks into your soul, you will never look at your own life the same way again. Because wealth is not a matter of chance, it is a matter of law. The greatest secret of this law begins in the mind. The wealth you see in the world, the towering skyscrapers, the humming factories, the inventions that altered the course of history, all of them were first invisible. They lived first as thoughts. Edison saw the light bulb in his mind before the world ever saw it glow. Henry Ford envisioned cars affordable for the common man when the world laughed at the impossibility. Carnegie imagined steel structures piercing the sky when others saw only iron. These men lived by a truth most people never realize. Thought, when mixed with belief, clarity, and relentless purpose, becomes a force of creation. This is where the law begins. In the silence of your mind, wealth is either invited or rejected. Every thought you repeat, every image you dwell on, every belief you allow to dominate, is a signal you are sending to the universe. Weak, scattered thoughts attract nothing but confusion. But a mind that dares to see vividly, to imagine boldly, to picture success so clearly it feels alive, that mind is irresistible to the law. Understand this. The universe does not reward the wishful. It rewards the convinced. The man who says, "I hope to be rich someday," will remain in hope forever. But the man who says, "I am destined to build wealth, I am destined to create, I am destined to rise," with conviction burning like fire, he sets forces in motion that the timid never touch. But thought alone is not enough. Thousands dream, but only a few achieve. Why? Because thought must be married to belief. Belief is the bridge between the invisible and the visible. Without it, dreams collapse under the weight of doubt. With it, mountains are moved. When Walt Disney stood before banks asking for loans to build a place no one had ever imagined, a land of fantasy where families could step inside the stories of their childhood, he was laughed out of office after office. They told him it was impossible, childish, doomed. But Disney carried something those bankers could not measure. He carried belief so unshakable that even when no one else could see it, he saw castles, he saw kingdoms, he saw laughter echoing through streets that did not yet exist. That belief, unbroken, magnetized the money, the people, the opportunities until Disneyland became real. Wealth comes to those who believe in the unseen with such intensity that the unseen bends to become reality. But there is a step even deeper. Belief without clarity is still blind. You cannot hit a target you cannot see. Clarity is the blueprint of wealth. A man who says, "I want more money," has no clarity. More money could mean a single coin. But a man who says, "I will create a business that impacts millions. I will earn $10 million in 10 years by delivering unmatched value to the world," has direction, purpose, and a plan that the law can respond to. Andrew Carnegie did not simply say, "I want wealth." He declared that steel would be the backbone of modern industry, and he aligned his mind, his resources, and his people to that clarity. That is why he became one of the richest men in history. Clarity turns vague wishes into precise commands, and the law responds to commands. Yet clarity without discipline is powerless. Here lies the graveyard of countless dreams. Men and women who could see it, who could feel it, who could even describe it in detail, but who would not discipline their habits, their time, their actions. The law of wealth does not reward the undisciplined. It does not answer to procrastination. It does not bend to those who quit when struggle appears. Thomas Edison, when asked how he endured thousands of failed experiments before creating the light bulb, replied, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." That is discipline. Discipline is doing what must be done whether the mood is there or not. Discipline is showing up, again and again, until the world itself has no choice but to acknowledge your persistence. Action, massive, relentless action, is the great activator of the law. You cannot think your way to wealth alone. Thought without action is daydreaming. Belief without action is fantasy. Clarity without action is a blueprint collecting dust. Action turns invisible into visible. Action calls the law to move. Action transforms the dreamer into the creator. Ford did not just think about cars. He built factories, he tested engines, he failed repeatedly until his action finally produced success. Carnegie did not just dream of steel. He built plants, he organized men, he struck deals, he expanded relentlessly. Every titan of wealth has this in common. They were men and women of massive, disciplined action. And here lies the truth: inaction is the real poverty.